Now, am I on? Yay. All right. Hello again. I am Lauraine Marcus, and I have been a member of UU Amherst this time for 20 years, about, give or take. And I do a few things around here, and today I am worship associate. We realize that you have many options for how to spend your Sunday morning on a beautiful day like today. And we are grateful that you've decided to spend it with us. We send a special warm welcome to those joining by live stream, as well as those who will view the recorded version of the service in the days to come. What an amazing time to be alive. We will begin our service with all ages present in this space that we refer to as the chapel. We'll sing together and share some special moments, after which children and youth, none of whom are here today, will be dismissed to morning activities following time for all ages. Nursery care would have been provided for infants through preschool, and parents would have been welcome to spend time with them. So today we are pleased to welcome Reverend Susan Frawley as our guest preacher, as our minister this morning. Reverend Michelle is off today, getting a well-deserved time to herself. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on airplane mode, or as we like to call it, worship mode, so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction, as well as freeing up bandwidth so our live streaming friends are able to enjoy the service without disruption. Each week, we begin our time together with a time to greet and welcome one another. Remember that there are some folks who may choose to remain seated, so please go to them and make them feel welcome as well. Let the gentle welcoming begin.
I didn't know what plate you are. It's fine. It's all good.
All right. And now for opening, words.
Our opening words this morning come from two sources. The first is Simone Weil. To be rooted is perhaps the most important and least recognized need of the human soul. And our second source is Jonathan Wilson Hartgrove, who says, when we belong to a place, its stories are in you.
It is our custom when we gather to light a flaming chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of our life together. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee and those known as the neutrals. We honor them and the land as we plant and tend gardens, blaze and tend trails, and cut and replace invasive species with native ones. We call that space the Ecology Center, a place to teach and learn and to listen to and speak for the diversity of the plants and wildlife. Marlena will now pour the libation. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things. Thank you, Marlena. Our song of intention this morning is found in the gray hymnal, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. The words to this song come from the Sufi poet Rumi. We'll sing it through 3 times.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no care of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no care of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no care of despair. Come, yet again come.
Thank you, Linda. We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such a people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your lifelong time home, you are invited to share in our sacred promise. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. Each week, you are offered the opportunity to bring your whole self into the sacred time, your joys, your concerns, your sorrows. I invite you to come forward and place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth in the center here, in recognition of all that you bring and all that you are. May we remember that we are called to heal and bring love to the broken places. We will now sing the meditation and song, Spirit of Life. Now we will do Time for All Ages, but we will not have a children's recessional today because no children.
So this story works for all ages, whether our children are here or if they're outside playing in the sunshine or wherever they may be today. I know mine's out in the labyrinth. She didn't want to be in here. That's where she's doing her prayer on Sunday. This short story is called Home. Mama and child were walking And the mama said, "Come on, child, we need to get home." And the child said, "What's home? What's home? What do you mean? What's home?" And mama said, "Well, home is where we live." "But why do we live there?" the child asked more again. The mama thought, good question. We live in our home because it gives us shelter and safety, a place to gather, to share meals, to have talks. And the child still wasn't satisfied. But why do we live there? And the mama thought again, well, we looked at many places. It's kind of like trying on clothes. You see what fits, and then finally you find what fits right. And then that's how it became home. "Okay," said the child, "but when I'm big, how will I know where home is?" And mama said, "Home is in your heart always. It goes everywhere with you. And it's not always a place. It's a feeling of connection. It's people that you may be with. It's a place. It's many, many things. But most importantly, it's what's inside you and where you place that feeling." And the child thought about all the different things that mama said were part of home and said, "But how will I fit all that in my house?" And mama said, "Your heart is big enough to be home to all that you love, and that's how you know that home is where you live." And that's the story of home. So I was inspired to write this sermon after a trip to New York City. I went there to watch my beautiful son sing at Carnegie Hall. I know, it was his school choir went there, and it's like, I have to go see my son sing. So I'd been to New York City many, many times in the past, but this trip was different. New York City has so many sights to see and foods to taste and people to watch. But on this trip, I spent a lot of time being aggravated. I couldn't catch a cab in the rain. I didn't really have my bearings of east, west, north, or south. I hated walking and bumping into people or being smelled or approached by their dogs on the sidewalks. There's a lot of dogs on the sidewalks in New York City. I wanted all my home conveniences of driving right up and parking and getting inside quickly. And so much of my time when I was there, I kept saying in my head, I like where I live. Yet, I was on an adventure, and I tried to keep a positive and upbeat attitude. It's one of the things I do when I try to visit a city. And also, I always try to visit a UU church if I happen to be there on a Sunday, which is rare because I'm usually working on a Sunday, but summers and others are nice. So I went to a very well-known one right near Central Park. I was very much looking forward to hearing their highly regarded choir as well. Now this was definitely high church, if you know what I mean by that. The choir processes towards the chancel, followed by an acolyte. Yes, they don't have a worship service associate, they have an acolyte. Okay, full regalias, lots of stoles, candle holders, and then finally the minister in full robal regalia comes to the chancel. All right, it's pageantry, it was okay. When the minister began his remarks, I recognized the tone and the pace that he used. And I'd heard it hundreds of times in big church settings, usually by male ministers, a deep, resonating, piled with a kind of rambling cadence, much like a train chugging along a track. I used to joke that UU ministers had a formula for sermons. You start at point A, then you go to point B, then maybe you go over to point Q, and back down to H, and over to W, cross and end at C. Many times sitting in the pew while trying to follow this track, and I think I was sharing this with someone else, I used to fill out my Wegmans church list sometimes if I got lost in the bustle of where things were going. But it always somehow made its way back. And if you're doing your list, that's okay too. It's a blessing. It's all right. The sermon on this particular day was about resilience. The minister spoke for about 5 minutes. Yes, I timed him, because he kept repeating the words, wind, water, and rock. And I started to hear it in my head like a mantra. And you will too after I say this several times. Wind, water, rock. Wind, water, rock. I'm not going to do it for 5 minutes. That repetition in those words started to steer me away from whatever had been intended about resilience. But then I started giggling. I could diagram the whole sermon like a mathematical equation. It reminded me of how a seminary professor had wanted us to learn sermon writing. Repeat a key phrase, add a little context, repeat the phrase, add context. Throw in a quote from some obscure writer and act like everyone should know who that person is. Gesture grandly. Throw in a piece of UU history for flavor. Lather, rinse, repeat. It was accurate, it was impersonal, and it was pretty sterilized high church. And suddenly, instead of my grocery list, I started sketching out this sermon topic with the mantra in my head, I like where I live. Now, it wasn't just about my house or my community, my ease of movement that I was thinking about, although I was trying to get through all the streets in NYC. It was about my church home, my intentionality of being a small church minister, which I am. I minister at Hamburg, Pullman Universalist in Albion, and Niagara Falls, which are very, very small. Like 10 people show up for church sometimes on a Sunday. Very small. And granted, it's not for everyone. And only by exploring different churches and styles can one truly sit with the declaration of liking where they live. Kind of like clothes shopping, kind of like the mama told the child. You have to try things on to see what fits. And the same as churches. And I do. I truly, truly do love my small churches. Now, growing up, never in my Catholic schoolgirl experience was it ever brought up or considered to try out a different church. Now, I'm not talking about different faiths because that would be blasphemy. I'm just even talking about going from Queen of Heaven to St. Catherine's down Seneca Street in West Seneca. Oh, no, 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 no. You went to the one in your neighborhood, probably because you also probably went to school there. And while your cousins and other family might go to the different churches in their neighborhoods, that church at the end of your street, in your neighborhood, was your home, for better or worse. Now, the services were always the same, no matter where you went, and the remarks were always similar. Although I will say my dad liked a particular priest at Queen of Heaven who could get you in and out in 30 minutes. He always looked to see when Father Bob was speaking. As UUs, we are lucky. Every church is unique. Its congregational makeup, its order of service, the songs they like to sing, the viewpoints of the minister or the visiting pulpit supply, even the fellowship treats and coffee. And if you haven't had a chance, summer is a great time sometimes to go and visit the different churches. We are so lucky in Western New York that we have 5 churches within 25 minutes that you could go to, right from wherever you are. Most places don't have that. Many of my friends have to travel sometimes an hour or 2 hours just to get from where a home base is to a church in some of their states. And here's the cool part. As UUs, if we don't like something, we change it. I was reminded of this, actually it was last week, when I was visiting the UU Buffalo, which was my home church, and I never get to go there because I'm always working. And at one particular point, when the congregation got up and did the greet your neighbor, Reverend Joan, who's leaving there but is still the minister, said, "You started this." And I had to think for a second, what is she talking about? But when I was just coming out of seminary, I did a guest pulpit, and I just said, why don't we all stand up and say hi to each other? And that was the beginning of it, and they just kept it. She goes, they've never let us get rid of that since that happened. And of course, my Hamburg church does it, and I'm happy to see that you do it as well. I think that that's a good thing. Not every place does it, not every place will add it in, but just knowing that that little touch was still there, that made me feel good. So, somewhere along the way, you made a choice about where you wanted to spend your Sunday, or perhaps not even Sunday, where you come for other kinds of fellowship or community. And maybe you've tried on different other churches, maybe you've tried on different other faiths, and that's fine because not everything fits for everyone. But coming to a realization of what one wants in a spiritual celebration, that can take a lot of time and deliberation. And it's actually part of our UU principles. See how I threw in a little UU reference in there? A little history, a little part. To freely search responsibly for truth and meaning. It's part of who we are. And if that's also finding the church and the home that fits for you, then that is a church that we should always embrace and encourage each other to be a part of. Because when you do that, and you really get that feeling, you will be able to say to yourself, in your church home, I like where I live, and that is a blessing. Now, I'm say it up here and then I'll come back down. So something I do when I'm at churches is something called Talkback. Because even though I'm doing words up here this morning and I am a guest, this is your pulpit. And your voice is probably more important than mine. And so what I would love is that, Lauraine, would you be the helper and pass the mic around? And let me explain Talkback. It's simply your opportunity to speak and reflect on some of the things I've mentioned this morning, some of the things you thought about while I was speaking or while you were listening to Greg's beautiful music. Whatever's on your mind, this is your opportunity to talk back. And I'm going to come and sit down here so I can listen and hear what you have to say. Lauraine will pass the mic around. Let's talk back. Me? Okay. There we go.
I used to be very proud that I was Marlena Rice, that I was a foul weather Unitarian. I only came to church when the weather was poor. And then I was at a group meeting, it's called Slug, many years ago, 20 years, 30 years ago. And I proudly said, I'm just a foul weather Unitarian. And this woman said to me, she said, you know, the church was open because people came on other days than just when the weather was bad. They were here when you came, and it's important to me that I come every day. And then I said, oh, you know, I'm going to change my mind. And so even though it's a beautiful day and being outside would be wonderful, I came because there may be someone here that needs me, or the more we come, the more we're part of this wonderful community.
Sam has his hand.
I wanted to...
Sam had his hand up. Oh, okay.
Okay, I wanted to share that during COVID, there is a church down in the border of New York and Pennsylvania, Athens. You may know it, Athens. Yeah, it's on the border of, okay. And they would visit online different UU churches every Sunday rather than hold their own service. It's wonderful. I've kept on following them on Facebook. They're just a very small church, and they co-share a minister with a church in the finger around Ithaca. Yeah, at Watkins Glen. So it's doable. It's doable. And I also wanted to share that my grandparents, way, 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 way back in, when they got disenchanted with the church in Newburgh, instead of walking away from Unitarianism, began visiting all the churches in the Hudson Valley. And they stayed UU, or UU, yeah, it was, yeah. So.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wendy Scott, if you don't know me. And I have to say that when I come here on Sunday morning, it serves a particular purpose. It sort of grounds me. It reminds me of what's important. I think Unitarianism is really good for that, reminding you of the basic important things in life for yourself and for the larger community in the world. So it's good to just be quiet and thoughtful in this beautiful and comfortable place and remember what's important. And that covers a lot of territory. It could be very personal or it could be very international.
I did not grow up Unitarian Universalist. I grew up in a more liberal Protestant background, United Church of Christ. And then I was unchurched probably for many years during college, that age, and came back searching for a church, I guess, when I got divorced. So a crisis happens in your life and you start looking for groundedness. But I like that you can be part of multi-generational community. We don't have a big family here. We don't have a big family, and it's a way to be connected with people of different ideas and background. I don't have to see people every day who's in my same profession or whatever. So, and I find it helps me to be grounded also.
I love where I live now too, and we had started here. I'm Ellen Muma, by the way. We had started, my husband and I, at this church because he was raised in this church, and so we came here even though his father always called it the sanctuary, the picnic pavilion. I apparently wasn't a fan of UUism, but anyway, we were here for quite a while. And then I really had a hankering to sing under Barbara Wagner's direction at the downtown congregation. And so for about 20 years, I was there. And that, I liked where I lived then, but then Barbara had a stroke and eventually passed away, and I didn't like where I was living anymore, and I thought, well, what can I do? And it took me such a long time to come to the realization I can go back to UU Amherst, and because I always loved it here. I loved the fact that 30 years ago, many of the same people who are here now were here then, and it just really does feel like home for me.
Good morning, y'all. So I'm Kimmy. I'm really grateful to be in the service right now because I do childcare, and typically I'm back there chilling with the children. So I want to say that this service really spoke to me because home is truly where the heart is, and I'm really grateful to be to have a heart, I suppose, and to be around a beautiful community that I get to call you all, right? So thank you guys, and thank you for being here today.
I really love being here because my life at this point, this stage of my life, my main goal is to help build community, and that's what we stand for here. So let's build it, ladies and gentlemen, children, friends, joy people, everybody. Thank you so much.
Good morning, I'm Linda Joy, And I want to say that just to celebrate a little bit, because this is a summer service and we have a lot of people here. And it's something that we've made a conscious decision to do, is to do year-round programming so that when people wander in the door, they don't face an empty set of pews or benches or whatever we want to call them, that they just feel like, oh wow, there's people of like mind, of like spirit, and we can be here together. Usually in the past it's been maybe 3 years that we've been trying to change it a little bit, but this year we made a conscious effort that we're going to not take any huge breaks, and we're going to offer as much as we can. So this kind of attendance on a beautiful summer morning is really wonderful, and we should be very proud of that. We've also made some very conscious efforts to be welcoming in what we do every morning that we're here, and to have very specific types of procedures that we follow so that everyone's doing the same thing, so that people can count on it as predictable and reliable. And Eric and I had the chance to visit with two of our children, 3 of our children? I don't remember, 2 of them, in Pittsburgh. We went to the Unitarian Universalist, First Unitarian, I guess it was. And, we got welcomed at the door, but after that, there wasn't really any follow through. We're a very curious family, curious looking, and we we call attention wherever we go. But it was up to me to go up to them and say, hey, we're new. We're not new, we're visiting, we're from Buffalo. And I did that, and people were like, oh, that's great, I'm glad to see you, thanks for coming. And at the same time, there wasn't that organic, what we're doing here, which is going up to people and inviting them in. So I think we're doing a fantastic job with that, and I'm really proud of us, and I think our connections are building and growing. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Marquis, and this is a big topic for me, having just... Okay. Ooh, hey. Don't forget to tip your servers. This is a big topic, having just moved up here from Virginia less than a year ago, and getting acclimated to my new home and my new surroundings has been very difficult, especially through the past winter, which was like one I have never, ever experienced in my life. Having grown up overseas in very warm, tropical places where words like winter mean it's dipped down to 70 degrees at night. A little bit of a difference. So coming here has been just an amazing, welcoming event. This community of people, I want to get out of bed every Sunday. There's a time when you're trying to, get used to new spaces that most days you just want to stay curled up in the fetal position with the covers over your head. I did anyway. So this is, you all are just a complete bright spot in this church and this community, have made a huge difference.
Yeah, as a UU, we often get, talked about, and when you describe, what do you believe in when we're asked that, they'll be incredulous, and they'll say, well, you mean you can believe anything you want? I always say, well, no, not at all. If that were true, I could be a Jehovah's Witness like you, or whoever I'm talking to, but our path is a more difficult path, but I think more meaningful.
My name is Marilee Reinertson, and I have a strange history in this church. We came as a family in 1960. We were here 25 years. Then things changed, and I was away for 37 years. And I came back because I'm old and I need this place. Oh, things happen. But I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, love where you live. And I have always pondered that. You have to love everything. I've moved a lot, and I have loved every place I lived, because you make yourself do it. And it's deeper than that. You further it, you cherish it, You don't just have the benefit of being with it.
My name is Lori Hickson, and you know, Linda, when you were sharing, I just want to thank the UU of Amherst, because when we came here about 3 months ago, I walked in the doors here, and me and my sister looked at each other, and we said, we think we found home. And my sister lived on Cape Cod for many, many years. She raised her son there, and the family would go there every summer, my family, and we would go to the UU of Brewster. And that was her home for so many years. So when my mom passed away, our mom died in July of 2019, Linda moved home when the pandemic was happening in that April. And we started going just maybe a year ago, Linda, to the UU of Buffalo. And you know, we said, let's check out the UU of Amherst. And I just want to thank everybody here, how welcoming you are. I remember Marlena was at the greeting desk, and I think Lauraine was, and I believe you were. And I don't know. I have such gratitude in my heart, and my sister cries at every service. I sometimes don't even understand why, but she does, and you just got her all choked up. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We love you all. Thank you.
I want to thank the church for being the lifeline during COVID, because we couldn't go to church. Most of my family lives out of state, and this church was a lifeline. It was a joy. It was whoever the people that did it, Reverend Michelle and her husband, they were able to set up such a wonderful internet service for us. And if we can't make it winter or summer or something, it's still available. But it was a lifeline, not only for me, but I think for many, many people. And I'm very grateful.
Let's hear it for Les and Michelle for all they did during the time. Oh, right behind you, Lauraine.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Bartlett. I'm here today with my,
Just hold it close to your mouth.
My name is Kayla Bartlett. Today is my grandfather and I's first day here. And just everything you've been saying is absolutely true. You guys have been so welcoming, and Mickey's the one who brought us. Thank you, Mickey. And we just really look forward to hopefully getting to know everybody here, and just thanking you for given us the place to be this Sunday. And it's been a long time trying to find somewhere that doesn't feel you got to follow every rule. So thank you.
Any other comments or thoughts that anyone has? Okay. Shortly. There you go, yes.
Hi there. My name's Charlie, and a couple of thoughts. If somebody said to me a few years ago I'd be sitting in any church, I'd be wondering what you were drinking, first of all. So for me, this is amazing, and this has been probably one of the greatest things that have really ever happened to me in the last many, many years. So you guys have been really a big, big impact for me. But I write a lot. Julie and I write together, and I write a lot about things like anxiety and depression and things that bother the average person, especially today with the way the world is, and whether you have enough money in the bank or whether there's going to be a nuclear war. The big gigantic things or the little tiny things. And I almost feel like I come here because this is my anti-anxiety medication right here. Here you go.
I just want to add also that we have a new sign, and that sign is very also intentional in what it says and also in what it doesn't say. The old sign said Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. The new sign says UU Amherst, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And it says that because the word church can be very exclusive. And we are not an exclusive community. We are an inclusive community. And so I want to make sure that if church resonates with you, then you can say it and use it and feel it. And if it doesn't, then we're a congregation, we're a community, we're even a co-op, because that's what we do. We cooperate. And really without that sense of gathering, community, cooperation, we can't exist. So I just wanted to add that.
Going.
It's all good. Oh, no, it's up.
I was just thinking as I was listening to comments, the world is a crazy place. And we spend a lot of our life trying to fend it off. And I have, when I was teaching actively, taught about civilization and what it is and why it's there and why it isn't there, both sides of it. And my conclusion is, people are nuts. But you need a community like this with your friends to remind you that you don't have to be nuts and you don't have to take the other nuts seriously all the time.
Sounds good. I want to thank all of you for comments, for your thoughts, even for your just presence and reflection as others were speaking. As I've said, this is your pulpit, and your words and your commentaries are so important for your connection for each other. But more so, when you do this, you're ministering to me. And for that, I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Frawley. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our response, Blue Boat Home, found in the Teal Hymnal, number 1064.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sorry. As I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights, the heavens, in our beautiful blue boat home. Thanks to the waves upholding, hail the great Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
It's time to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Now, everyone knows about the Living Green Festival. Our theme is Green Beyond Belief. There is a task force of about 6 people who are coordinating it, but we desperately need help. We need vendors and groups who are willing to set up tables to display their wares or their information on Saturday, September 23rd from 12 until 6. And if you have any contacts, please talk to me after church and I can give you information to share with them. We have less than 10 people signed up, and we really need a lot more. So please talk to me. We really need this help, your help to get this to be a success. And from the Connections group, we have updates on the community garden. The plants are growing. You are invited to pick basil, parsley, and oregano. They are flourishing. And if you want to be part of the garden team, want to see what's happening, join Linda Joy for a short garden walk after service today. All right, go and take a look. After coffee hour. Of course, coffee hour never ends, so it's, you know. So we, Sunday child care providers are needed. Kimmy would be, you would be working with her. So two adults are needed in the room for safety, and the commitment is from 10:30 to 11:30. It's not a heavy lift. Youth service leaders are needed in September and December. 3 weeks a month are currently scheduled, so we're looking for a 4th week and sometimes a 5th week. Again, not a heavy lift. We are a co-op, guys. So it's not a big commitment. It's talk to Linda. And are you new to UU? All newcomers are welcome to sign for a free name tag at the welcome desk, and we put a new order in every time we have 10 requests. And also anyone who lost their name tag, we can order a new one. And have you been coming a while to the UU Amherst? And are you ready to become a member? We have a signing book We call it signing the book because there is an actual book in which all members make a formal promise to engage in the community and make a financial contribution to the congregation. Financial contributions called pledges can be any amount and are used to support the building and grounds, staff, and programming. Pledges are and you can learn more about all of this when you are ready to sign the membership book. So we're looking for you to, we are welcoming you to become a member. So finally, see the church newsletter, the forward for information regarding upcoming services and events. Hard copies can be found in the lobby. The digital version is on our website, uuamherst.org. As well as all information, lots of information about the events scheduled for the upcoming Living Green Festival. Lots of information. So, and of course, we would be remiss if we didn't invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of the UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket at the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and clicking on the giving link, or text your gift to the number on the screen. Your gifts and participation are important because we pick fruit from trees we did not plant. We drink water from wells we did not dig. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. Your generous giving supports the work of the congregation. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Remain standing afterward for the benediction. May the road rise up to greet you as you leave your past behind. I will think about you gently, and I hold you in my mind. Travel light and travel easy. Once again, travel light and travel easy, and remember.
Our benediction words today come from Horton Hears a Who. And this was what the people in Whoville would say when they gathered. We like it in Whoville, we like it a lot. We have all that we need all that we've got. Blessed be amen and a women.
It sounds familiar. Forrest Gump, isn't it? Or is it from Steel Magnolia? I gotta look at what he's playing.
I have to ask you. Good job. Thank you for being worship associate.
I love flying by the seat of my pants. Quick saves.